The Sac County, Iowa Board of Supervisors and that county's sheriff talked about the future of the county jail. That's after a $12 million bond to build a new jail failed in last week's election. The county jail, quote, poses serious safety risks to staff and the community, according to the Sac County attorney. KTIV's Connor Trett tells us what comes next for Sac County.
We have the oldest jail in the state of Iowa.
It's old, but the Sac County Jail also falls short of Iowa code requirements.
Some of the biggest things we need are the ability to be hands-off, so having remote locks and unlocks, also being able to separate inmates.
Members of the Board of Supervisors and County Sheriff's Office agreed at the meeting that most voters in the area are in favor of a new jail being built. However, there are hesitations for additions outside of the confines of the actual jail.
We're looking more at a confined jail facility as opposed to any administrative supports. So that would be the biggest design change, would be taking this from a two-phase project to a one-phase project to just ensure that the jail itself is built and no additional wants that are not necessary by Iowa code.
Proposed policy changes would help to mitigate safety concerns, but during Wednesday's Board of Supervisors meeting, Supervisor Mike Fisher said that if a new jail isn't built, the county may have to close its 86-year-old county jail.
The policy changes and the different things that we're going to be doing to make it safe for our people working there and the people that are housed in our facility will only last so long, and then we're going to need to move on.
Sheriff Katie Stang noted that building a new facility and keeping a jail open would ensure that there's a strong law enforcement presence in the county. She said her office has already received more than 11,000 service calls this year, and maintaining a county jail would reduce the time that deputies spend outside the county transporting inmates to neighboring facilities.
You have to question who's back here taking care of the people of Sac County if we're spending our time and money going elsewhere.
Fisher claims that over time it would cost more to move inmates and house them in other counties than it would be to build a new county jail.
I know that does not make things easier when making decisions about a $12 million plus bond, but down the road it would be a cost savings to build your own jail.
In Sac County, Iowa, Connor Trett, KTIV News 4.
Members of the county board and county sheriff's office hope to put together another bond for the November 2026 election.